So sometimes having goals just isn't enough. So what's your passion and what's your why? Now, on our goal setting sheet that we have for our employees and for myself that we review once a week and then we debrief it on Monday morning, is we have 3 sentences of your why. Now, I think you should have 2 pages of why handwritten out. So what is why? Why is really what's your purpose? So Viktor Frankl wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. And Viktor Frankl made it through the concentration camps in Germany. But he was a trained psychologist. And what he found is the people that made it through the camp versus the people who didn't make it through the camp had one distinct difference. And he said this: among the mud, some saw the stars and others saw the bars. So if you saw the bars and never thought you were going to get out, you did things like you traded your food for cigarettes. Whereas if you saw the stars, you traded your cigarettes for food. So there was a different mentality that was driving people. And it was the people that had the vision to break beyond the bars and had something pulling them beyond the bars. So they had a strong why. They had a strong passion. So what is it that drives you each and every day? What drives you? You know, one of the things too, and we'll get back to the why, is what do you say to yourself before you, right when you wake up in the morning? In NLP and crazy stuff, neuroscientists call this your modal operator of what drives you. So you have to figure out what is that story that's driving you and interrupt that. Because a lot of times I get up at 4:30 in the morning and I don't like to do it. I'm not going to lie to anybody. It's not easy all the time. But I know the story I'm going to tell myself, so I'm ready to beat myself. It's like an objection I'm giving myself. So you have to understand what's that story and how do you shift it into being something that's more pulled by your passion than pulled and pulled back by the crappy story you've been telling yourself. And so what I want you to do is this. I want you to write 2 pages of why. Why do you want to accomplish the goals that we've talked about in other videos? Handwrite it out. What's driving you? And here's the thing. It has to be positive. So you have to have positive language in there. And you have to be able to read that and say, hey, this is going to get me going. So keep doing iterations until you get something that's going to pull you each and every day. And so now you have 2 pages that you can go back to. The other thing you have to think about is what do you say to yourself before you get started? What do you say to yourself that gets you to the gym? So what's the story that you have to overcome? And so think about what do you say to yourself right before you get up in the morning? And the days that you get up versus the days that are pulled you back in bed. What are those 2 different stories? And that negative story is only an objection in sales. So you have to figure out how do you beat that story and replace it with your why and your passion. So just like Viktor Frankl, if he can make it through the concentration camp with having a strong why and seeing the stars and being pulled by it, what pulls you each and every day? For me, you know, it's my experiences that I want to experience in life. You know, when I was younger, I was making $100 grand. That's all I wanted. It was my why. I didn't come, you know, I had a great upbringing, but we didn't have a lot. I had 3 older brothers. So I wanted to make that $100 grand. It used to bring tears to my eyes. Now what brings tears to my eyes is I want to create for my kids. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and I want to create for them, and I want to create for my wife. I want to create some experiences because, you know what? They're always watching Daddy. And if I'm not pulled by a passion every day, how can I expect them to be pulled by a passion every day? So my why is my kids. They're watching, and their life depends on it. So there's not a day that I don't wake up and comb my hair and shave my face because I have a 4-year-old and 2-year-old watching, and I want them to be inspired. And that's what leaders do. And so that's what pulls me every day, is inspiring the people around me and developing the experiences that I want for them and myself. What's your why? And be pulled by the passions rather than be pushed by that boot in your back. So build a strong why and be pulled by it.